Sheriff's Department here. So all of these items, I don't think any of those went through Health and Emergency Services. I'd entertain a motion to defer.
Second.
Well, I didn't make the motion. I'm just entertaining.
I'll motion.
Okay, so you got the motion?
I got the second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to defer. Any discussion on this? I'll get in queue, but anything else?
Just all of four. All four.
On the deferral, can you have for items A and B, since they involve ARPA, to actually have them to send that to Ms. Norfleet, where we can have the consultants to look at it, and possibly even, if it's determined to be a good project, go and look at procurement, start bidding, see what the actual prices are.
And I completely agree with Mr. Rawlings, because that's where the discussion of moving the money into regular operating started. I recommended to Mr. Craddock, Deputy Craddock, that we actually use things that we would normally buy for ARPA. So that this is the root of what I was bringing forward earlier. So I am for using this for this, but.
Just ask him before the commission, wait till they can get evaluated and find consultants to see if there's any issues.
Okay. Whoever made the,
A and B.
Yeah.
A and B to defer. Okay, I'll go along with that.
okay. Any other discussion on this one? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Stormwater project. I entertain a motion.
Motion to refer back to Gen Ops.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'm going to get in queue on this one. I would like to hear from the county mayor that is there something that might break here?
Well, he's pushing a month to delay the project.
I thought we just moved to A and B.
And the cost could increase.
But will this delay the opening of the courthouse?
No, we're not delaying.
Okay. All right.
This is dealing with the parking garage.
So it's the garage only, and it's not going to.
But you may have to have the construction manager additionally monitor the charges.
So there may be a fee.
Because we were already,
It will increase cost.
Okay. Go ahead.
Chairman,
It's already.
I understand, what's going on here, and I think I would like, if the mayor's amenable to it, work with him and Ms. Norfleet as the chairman of General Ops. Some of these numbers are really, really high. For instance, the total contract by the pipe contractor is $400,000, but the average price of this amount of pipe would be about $48,200 if it were put out in a field where there was nothing. Now, I realize Franklin Road is potentially a rat's nest of trouble digging in it. We've got power lines we have to support. We've got all kinds of things. But my problem is, I believe, and Mr. Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, we've only got one price on this because there's not been time to bid out. And the reason there's not been time to bid out is because we only found out about it 2 weeks ago.
Also, I think part of this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Mayor or Mr. Lyon, but I think all of this rolls up underneath we have a construction manager at risk, and you can argue that is not really a risk-based contract, and I think it was not well built, but I don't actually think we have the ability necessarily to make this out, do we?
this is an amendment to that contract.
Yeah.
I do believe, and I think, it's been through legal already, hasn't it, Mayor? This particular area.
So many, I'm not.
Does anybody remember right now?
Have this one been, Mr. Mayor?
And I believe this is.
I'm up to date on whatever's been sent to me by the mayor's office, so.
Let me see, I believe this is amendment to the contract.
Kim could probably give you some if you want to suspend rules.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Go ahead.
The next step after approval of the budget amount would be to before we execute AIA contract. Because we met with the city of Gallatin and changed the original scope based off of this, and make it easier on us line to the other side of the road as well, as part of their cost of the project. So Cam2 is working on finalizing that alternate design thing. We should have that done by the end of next week. From there, we will meet with Turner one more time to price out the cost and then prepare the AIA change.
So it had to come.
This is a change
It's
order.
gonna be up to amount. It would be a change order to our original contract.
So it's part of the Turner contract as well. It's a change order to the Turner contract because that's beyond their control when it gets handed in based on the.
Mr. Klein and Ms. Nancy, or, Ms. Miller.
Ms. Norfleet, there's, one of the qualifications in the contract is unknown subsurface conditions allowance $100,000. Does that mean we're paying them $100,000?
No, they will have to show proof
Okay.
for that additional cost. It'll be an allowance.
Okay.
So they would have to submit to us based off of what they found, and then we would have to, as we go, approve that $100,000 as an allowance. They don't just automatically get that amount.
Okay.
One item that I had looked at was the superintendent cost.
The $31,000.
We're already paying superintendent for the garage, which is what I wanted to talk to them a little more on what that cost is, so we might be able to get that cost down too.
That would make sense.
So there's still some opportunities to work with Turner on these costs, in the next week.
Okay.
Before we get the, change order AIA off.
Great.
But the construction part was part of the construction manager risk contract.
Chris, do you have a?
Yep, Ms. Miller.
Do we have a project manager yet on this stuff?
Now, we'll have, Turner will be the project manager on this.
Any other discussion on this one? Oh, go ahead, Ms.
Project manager for the garage, or is that for the,
They're finishing up a bunch of items in the garage as well.
so it's, they're gonna be the project manager for both the courthouse and the garage, or just the garage?
They've been construction
You
manager.
know, they've been the construction manager for both of them.
I mean, I'm sorry.
We don't have a separate project manager, no.
Okay.
They've been the construction manager the whole time. We've actually had a separate, contractor that was actually a consultant to help us, work on that, so that they were the construction manager.
Does anybody else, oh, go ahead.
I apologize, I'm not on general ops, so I just didn't.
Can I just ask, and I'm not trying to be harsh here, but what happened? What, I mean, how did we not, how did we miss this?
The stormwater cost was never part of Turner's scope.
Why? I mean, they have to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be, I wish they were here, I'm not trying to be harsh to you, but like, that, they're an engineering firm.
It's not much.
Like, how did we,
I went
You know,
through
they're-
all those discussions between the project manager and the city of Gallatin,
Hey.
and that over time, the city agreed to do the survey work for the stormwater, and then the county agreed to do the design, and then that's where we're at here. We finalized the design in December with Sandy Horn. We met with the city, to discuss if that was the feasible route, and then based on that discussion, there were ways to improve the design, so we went with the alternative.
so the county stated that we would do the design for the stormwater? Okay, so when did we decide, when did we complete that?
We did the contract back in August.
So August, that,
Brandon Coy helped negotiate that. Originally, there was a different contractor that.
so when did the design get completed?
In December,
It got completed in December.
and we had our meeting with the city of Gallatin.
So it took
for the-
6 months to get it,
In August, is when they started.
yes, well, September, October, November, I guess, 4 months
About 3 to 4 months.
for the, well, and we didn't, it's just,
This is an item that's been on the project manager's monthly report, which those had been supplied to general office before Randall Coy left, that it was a pending item that we were working on. He originally had another firm that was lined up to start the design back in the spring, but then another contract could not be negotiated, so then we went back to Sandy Horn. So there's been a number of delays that got us to where we are. But it's a cost that we have to, we've got to connect. We have the stormwater detention system that's
don't know that you may have, there may be some other questions for you.
I won't ask.
Okay, I guess I have one more question, Ms. Norfleet.
What Mr. Klein said, if y'all approve the money and the commission approves the money in 2 weeks, we can work together. This isn't the final number.
Well, here, is there any upside in terms of financial benefit to delaying this? Is there any way in which this number is going to decrease if we do more diligence over the course of the next month?
I think we'll already be doing that. The design is finalized next week. We'll have one more meeting with the city of Gallatin to make sure they're all signed off on everything. They are already going forward and applying for the TDEC permit for them to relocate the water lines. Their engineer is starting the design process.
Okay.
In the next couple of weeks. Because that's the other side of this. They have to relocate their water lines to the other side of the road, and we're trying to do all of this work before we can ensure that it does not delay the parking garage.
Okay.
And then the city's gonna come in after the fact and repave the road.
I think Ms. Miller was first, and Mr. Klein. Ms. Miller?
So, was this on general ops?
We talked about it, it was part of the line item that said progress on parking structure. And because Chairman had let me know the week prior that this was coming up, we asked, the questions came up. It came up because it's obviously a big hitch and a big bill.
I did have it on the information last month, but it got removed because of the way the meeting was noticed, we couldn't give the update on the parking.
Okay.
So I'm gonna come back in an email. I'm asking a question, because I have not been given information given.
Yeah, you know what, that's, you know what?
Sent out,
Yeah.
I got this today, and it was sent out to all the commissioners when I received it.
I guess when I get that about, early last week, I called you on it, because about general ops.
You said, here's a heads up.
Here's a heads up. I mean, you know what, hey,
So this transpired between, that's what I'm asking.
2 weeks we've known about it.
yeah, a little less.
I mean, I understand that it was on Randall Coy's reports, but I've never experienced this, so it was not on my
In
radar.
general, in December, the mayor's vote gave a report, said that we were meeting with the city of Gallatin that Friday, December 8th. And then we met with them, and based off of that, this alternative design came forward. The Wednesday after Christmas, Mayor Isabel and I met with Turner, and that's when these costs were proposed to be given. And then we forwarded it on to budget for the agenda that was due that following.
Yeah, it was not much of a turnaround before this was put out there.
Turner has worked with us, the city has worked with us, I feel like, to pull all this together so it does not delay the opening of the parking.
Mr. Klein?
But, you know, you can pay a whole lot of money to not delay it a month. And, you know, when I look at $600,000 and the pipe cost alone is $48,200, I have to ask, why are we not getting another price? Or two?
That was the thrust of my question here. Is there any way that, like, let's say Mr. Klein, you know, determines an alternate path, is there any way we have any authority or ability to reduce this dollar amount?
I mean, we could work with Turner and negotiate on the price, but I don't think we can tell them who they have to do.
Is the state law not that we have to get 3 prices?
We usually have to bid things. This one we did different. We did a construction manager risk that was supposed to be a fixed price on the building and on the garage. The actual contract had a contingency in there that said anything beyond their control that the architect signed off on basically was an adjustment to us, which I didn't negotiate the contract. It also talked about war and COVID, not COVID, but you know, stuff similar.
Act of God.
So what basically happened, COVID happened and the price escalated. Well, after COVID was gone, I had the question because the price kept escalating. Well, we went and at the time made legal sign off on all the changes, and that's when we started looking at it real closely. What they they were using, or what they are using, it basically, and I don't know the exact verbiage, but legal looked at it too, it says if it's beyond their control and the architect signs off on it, it's a price adjustment to us. I've been arguing it's not a construction manager risk. I argued it with audit, but formally, legal, not these, but they argued that it's a construction manager risk, and audit took that, so.
Prior legal, it might help.
And well, audit agreed with my, agree.
Can we on their, ESA, the architect of record, and we wanted to do this design that we work with them, sharing the plan, and wanted to be a part of it, and then Mayor Isabel and I, and we meet with Turner next week, once we have the final design, and request out the contract.
That something's gonna go to legal too, so they're not gonna determine it was just a change order based upon that. Which I think it's gonna be,
But my question is more basic than that. We're talking only to Turner. This is basically a public works project. It's going in a public street. We're talking only to Turner to make this connection to this filtration box, which is a federal requirement through the Clean Water Act 1970, whatever it is. So this is simply connecting an 18 and then increasing that to a 24-inch storm drain in a public road, connecting to an existing 24-inch that runs up North Water. Why are we locked into Turner? Not that I have no problems with Turner, they're a great company. And the one pipe contractor they have talked to, when I know we're getting hosed here. I just do.
My concern is that this is something that legal, I'm gonna say, gonna look at. The garage and the courthouse is fair construction. It says anything beyond their control. I have the same question.
Control or scope, David?
It says beyond their control. And it does not say unreasonably foreseen or anything, so you kind of, that's left for interpretation. My question is, should have this been part of the original contract? That's something legal's gonna have to look at. I mean, that's something they're gonna have to look at, sign off on the change order. If it's not part of the original some way, then you're correct, it would be.
You know, I was looking. The fact that this one, I just want to get this on the record. The downside risk, I'm going to state these things, and Mr. Mayor and Ms. Northleaf, please correct me if I'm wrong. One, this is decoupled from the opening of the courthouse, therefore we do not bear a liability risk of not opening the courthouse and mitigating against courthouse-based risk if we were to delay this. Is that a true statement? Oh, let me get these out.
Yeah.
I just want to get these factual things out there. Is that a true statement? They're decoupled. Okay, item 2. The downside risk of this is that if we defer this, then we could potentially bump this, and I don't know what the probability of it is, but we could potentially bump this beyond June, and that would, because of the way this contract is structured with Turner, we would incur additional costs to keep them on the project. Is that a true statement? Is that the downside? Mr. Ryan?
Yes, but also this contract's gonna, this change order's gonna have to be reviewed by legal to determine why the change order is disappointing.
Well, what is?
My question is like most things we've run into, escalation of costs, running into a void space. This is a whole drainage that we know is gonna have to be done, part of the garage and courthouse, and Mr. Klein has got a very significant question. Is this really part of that? Should it not have been part of it? If it's not part of that, we should be bidding it. If it is part of it, then it's another whole question of why it's not included. There's a whole question on this, and he's got a good point. If it's not part of it,
Because if it's not scope, and we can bid it.
Maybe a separate contract. But I don't know, that's something we need to look at.
Yeah, we have to.
Well, and additionally, people might say we gotta have that parking structure. Why?
Yeah, I mean.
Right now, everybody parks around the old courthouse. The new one's a half a block away.
That's something beyond their
Any
control.
further discussion on this? Call the question. All right, so the motion is to defer this.
I'll do that.
Refer it to.
I'll
questions
add
you
the
call?
legal.
No, I'm second.
No, okay.
No,
So what is it?
And I'll add the legal review.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Is the second good?
Oh, second good with that?
Yep.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Does the contract exist right now?
Well, that's the question, yeah, contract exists.
We
The
don't
question
know.
is whether this is.
No, she's got something going on with Gallatin where they were trying to get some final plan in place.
Part of the city of Gallatin is going to relocate the water line. They're submitting plans to Dex for that and doing engineering,
We'll tell Gallatin to pause.
We'll tell Gallatin boss.
Is that a separate bit of construction, or is all of this encompassed in one thing?
separate for this, from the.
Is there anything for me to review, I guess, is the question at this point in time?
Based on what's in your packet, that would be the premise of the AIA change order. But, like I said, next week, we'll have the final design from the DOT.
All right.
So I'd say between now and then all.
We're totally out of order here. I'm gonna bring us back into order. We have I think this can be covered in the part of the amendment that asks for you to, for the law director to investigate this, so I think we're okay. Let's move on into.
So move the group approve B1 2.
All right, you got a second?
Second.
We have 617.
That's 6 and
Oh, yeah, we do have six and seven, I had them. So we are at, we're at,
Oh, yeah, that,
item 6 under appropriation. This appropriates $42,133, for EMA. I'm gonna make a note on here. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
what is this?
This is,
Can I kind of explain
Go
what's
ahead.
going on? Last year, basically, you've got all your communication system in the county. There's a support cost and a maintenance cost. Mr. Widener, he costed out to the different cities. He called the contractor last year, the contractor, is the vendor, and asked him for the amounts. Unbeknownst to him, they've been giving him a 10% discount each year. They quoted him for the 10% discount, but the discount ended. So they underquoted him about $42,000. The bill was due in December, or early January. When's it due? Due December 1st, so this bill is due now for all the towers, so we need $42,000 to pay it. That's the only reason I ask if we can do something, or you guys can do something with it tonight. I know it's not been through emergency services, but we need to pay the support on the communication towers that's countywide. It's almost an emergency at this point. The thing is, they did send Kim the wrong numbers is how we got here. It's nothing he did. He's got the email from them, we've got the email, so they just applied the wrong numbers.
so short story here, this is a bill that we owe.
Right, they supplied him the wrong
It's an
numbers.
emergency.
It's a bill we owe, and if we don't pay it, we
We need to go pay the noise support on.
correct.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules so we can hear from the email.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Widener.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner. So, last year, the invoice was like $359,000, this year's $290,000. So last year, there was a balance of $157,000 because, we can't pay into the next fiscal year. I was not aware of that. That $157,000 went back to general fund. The $290,305 that I requested in the current budget, there would be a shortfall because they paid the last part of that out of this $290,305. So what we're trying to do is get it back, get it in line with a fiscal budget. December 1st, we're gonna pay 7 months to June 30, to start fresh July 1st. So it's not costing any more money. $157,000 went back to general fund last year, and they paid out of this budget, so it's put us $42,000 short. So I'm not asking for, I've got to have money, but $157,000 was put back in budget. That's what Beth told me today.
Well, I got the email right here. The issue is your bill is $322.
That's what Beth described it
Right, but I'm saying,
succinctly to me today.
if you take
Yeah.
the bills on your thing divided by 322,
Yeah.
it's $188,000. They're
Yeah.
charging you $322, not $290.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
If we don't, then we don't need the $42,000, Ken. I'm telling you right now.
So what, okay.
The
Whatever
email's
makes it
right.
right, but Beth explained it to.
Right, but I mean, where's the email at?
Yeah.
Let's go through it because when you add up your two amounts, they're $322, not $290.
So it's 221, hold on, I got it right here. It's $221,682.06 for system maintenance. is $880 for software support, for a total of $322,562.06 total per schedule.
That's
So,
for 7 months.
so what this happened here is it's been prorated out. So prorated for 7 months is $188,161.20, and then the $290 is the total annual. Yeah, the
They
total
quoted,
annual.
right, they quoted you an annual of $290. But when we go back to the schedule, the annual is actually $322,562.
That's what the
That's what
numbers
you've got
are.
right here, and that's what the
No,
schedule was had.
That's what it says.
I understand what the schedule said, what they were invoicing us for was the 290, and then they took the 7 months out for the 188.
Right, let me tell you, if you take 322 divided by 12 and times it by the number of months, Ken, it comes to the 188. It's 322 they're charging you.
Okay.
So if we're not, then we need to go back.
Well, then I want 157 went back to general fund last year that we didn't use, so to get that this year is 22.
Well, let's just put this way, we can argue about this. Do we
Yeah.
owe a bill?
We owe $44,000.
Do we owe, just for the record, do we owe a bill of $44,000?
Yes.
$42,133. So we owe a bill.
Right, this is the way that cost works for services. If you have a service and you prepaid, it gets expensed in the year you use it. So if you think about this scenario, what if I went out and bought 10 years worth of software? You're not gonna expense 10 years worth of software.
I get it.
It's the same thing we prorated. The difference was partially maybe that, we'll have to look at it. But the thing is, if we take your schedule back here that they sent you, and we do it by the number of months, it comes to $188,000, not the $290 that they sent you earlier.
But that's not the software, that's for the maintenance as well.
Yeah, it's both of them.
Both of them together.
Both of them together, then prorated.
That's both of them.
But at the end, we can disagree on how we got to it, and but what we agree is that we still owe a bill of $42,103. Okay, we both agree on that. So, I would like to entertain a motion, because we owe a bill, to appropriate $42,133.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and second,
If
Ms.
I
Boyd.
could just amend, that we get this figured out and straightened out before budget, so we don't have
Yes,
to talk about it.
Would you incorporate that in?
I'm good with that.
Okay, second good with that? All right, so we don't need an amendment, it's incorporated. Any further discussion here? All in favor? Aye. Okay, any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. So, do we need to waive a second reading for that?
Yes.
Waive a second reading. So let's take it again. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So that carries without the second reading, we can pay the bill.
Thank you.
All righty, so now, Mr. Klein, we have a discussion of an organizational chart. Do we want to? This will be quick, I promise.
Okay, so,
We need a motion for discussion. Oh, you may not get a second.
motion for discussion.
Second.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Klein, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I thought Mr. Schoaf was gonna make a handout, but he didn't, and I neglected to. So this is what it says. Chairman Schoaf, pursuant to our need to create an organizational chart of the entire workforce of all departments in Sumner County, excepting the Sumner County school system, we are requesting that in the processing of the next budget cycle, your committee require from each department a complete organizational chart. This organizational chart should include the name of every employee within the department, his or her job title, and a complete description of each employee's responsibilities. Furthermore, the chart should be created in such a way as to show the direct superior of each employee. It should also cluster subgroups or teams within the department. Thank you for your help in this matter.
So I just have one, go ahead, and then I'm gonna get.
So what we're asking for is when the budgets come in March, they include an organizational chart for their department along with the budget.
So, I've got a question for, either the finance department or the, water department or finance department. Can we do this by statute? Can we make a approval of a budget contingent on a org chart?
If you look at the general law and the private act, it kind of says they will get a request to me for their upcoming expenses and revenues, but it doesn't mention the org chart. The question being, we require a long-term planning, or do we make a long-term planning cycle? The org chart, I'm not really sure, I think we can request it, really strongly.
But can we?
And I can put that in my email.
But do we have any ability to,
I don't think so, but maybe Eric said.
I've not been able to find anything that goes one way or the other, and contingent upon further research, I'm gonna have to.
I am happy
Say, I need to research that further.
This is me personally, well, okay, I would like to amend that just to, or I would make a motion to request that the finance director and the law director look into this matter and see what we can do as a part of this.
Well, we say logistically though, you gotta look at it this way. They said they'll send me the request for their expenditures and the coming revenue, but you guys in the budget committee recommended the county commission, so if you make a strong request, it may behoove them to send it to you. Sure. Unless they want
I just wanna know.
Unless they want last year's appropriation.
I just wanna know what options we got,
Logistical possibility.
but I don't have a second yet.
Well, the concern too, when we met, was Commissioner Harrison thought it was gonna create two, I think it was two, please don't quote me,
We're still on
you can
discussion.
correct me, but
We
I
have
think he was concerned it might create two more positions, by having this organizational chart. So my mindset was, well, let me go ahead and, vote up for this to move it to budget to see, just to kind of brainstorm and see if that's gonna create more jobs.
My office has a org chart. It's got the position, each person's thing, and then I have a job description. I don't have labeled who's in there, but if you go to the budget doc, they're all labeled. So a lot of the offices will have that. The question is, several of your offices probably don't have that, I guess, but, I'll be more happy to ask for it, but I'm not sure.
I'll second for discussion, but, you said you had an old org chart. Now, why
I've
don't
got some from before my
Yeah,
time.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So why can't we just do the budget against this organizational chart? And that way it kind of forces them to bring us an updated one if they want all these, extra things.
This is how old it is, I guess.
Well, that's what I mean.
And if everybody sent one, I think if somebody else requests, I'm pretty sure they can send them complete.
I mean, if they want to be funded against an old org chart, we'll do that.
Well,
But if they
I
want-
don't think we would be able, that was my question, Mike, because with maintenance of effort is already beyond that.
I know that, but where is it justified? That's what I
I
would.
mean, I get the ask, I just don't know, and I'm for it, I just don't know how much power we have to leverage.
Yeah, and I don't know the legalities of it, but from a common sense standpoint, we are the financial part of the government. We are the legislative. We hold the purse strings. How on earth can we determine what they need is right or wrong in a budget if we don't even know how many people work in that department? It's a pretty hard thing, and it's basic to all business. We need to run the county like a business. So, and I don't think we're going to get a lot of pushback. I know Josh Suttoth's department has a great org chart. David Long's got a great org chart. I would think most departments in the county do. So,
I don't know that we need it. Can we get it? I'll just look into this.
I'll just put a request on my email.
Just defer to old business.
Yeah,
But, and I'll be glad to shoot out what I've got to the respective departments, make them modify, gives them a starting point anyway.
Well, and I do want to know what lever we have here to select what we can do.
We're gonna put out requests in the next couple of weeks for budget, for people to send their budgets. I can just add that to the email.
That's fine.
You guys are requesting it for now.
That's fine.
And if people don't comply, then you can determine what action can be taken.
Anything else we want to discuss on this? Anyway,
Well, I mean, what about,
what Ms. Ford was saying to do?
Can we still get this draft of a org chart? And can you send that to all of us?
and it's unique to Sumner County.
You know what, there's some other commissioners that are out here tonight, can you send that to all commissioners, because you don't wanna leave anybody out?
Yeah, whatever you want.
the other concern is the constitutional offices.
That was mine.
Is he, the mayor, required to do that since he's an elected, just
That's
like the
the
sheriff?
question.
And my other questions are gonna be, are we overstepping our bounds? I just wanna make sure and that's gonna be what I wanna see come back. If we're overstepping our bounds, then I mean, that pretty much tells me.
I don't think it's unreasonable to ask, it's just whether or not we can compel. Okay, any other action on this one? Okay, let's keep on moving here, multi-year lease, do you have any other discussion you wanna add? Okay, so, multi-year lease, this was also not on the,
Tax refunds. We had an
wait, sorry, no, we're at B, because we.
1 and 2 group and approved, got so many.
Second, all in favor? All right, great. Okay, now we're at C1, all right, we have a motion to refer
Second.
back to Health and Emergency Services, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, I have one question before we voted.
Which one did you vote on?
The multi-year lease, is that gonna break anything?
No, I'll vote for all of them?
No,
No,
vote to
just
refer.
one. I do have some input
Couple
on
of
that.
them, yeah, let's talk about the first one. Are you talking about item?
Okay, yeah, I'd like to entertain a motion to reconsider.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? For C1, go ahead.
C number one, if you look at the email, I think that came into effect this month, and where they've got to fail to monitor those. Or my understanding is from the jail administrator per the email, that they're actually gonna have to have somebody to watch these folks all the
Yeah.
time, which will cost them.
So we need to approve this
I-
tonight.
And let me just kind of speak what these are. There's a couple of things. This one does have subject to appropriation, so it's basically saying, you know, if next year this isn't paid, it will die. The reason we send these leases are if they're across multiple years, then what we do is we put an asset in and expense them in the subsequent years, which is an appropriation. We do that for all assets. So these are things that's actually paid for, but they're for future periods. For like these next two, A and B are for, like 2A and B are for 3-year contracts that were paid up front. And then item C is for a 1-year, 365 splits in the middle of the year. That's why I do it, because it guarantees you appropriations next year. Probably something you wouldn't even really necessarily want to send to another committee.
Okay.
I have a question just regarding this item. I'm on health and emergency. I don't even know the answer. Is this a GPS for those vehicles? Is this the GPS tracking that we're putting on inmates?
I think it's only
They
in
bought?
123. They bought it through Tyler Munis and
It's,
Which one is it?
can I
I mean,
speak to that?
Go ahead.
It's in committee.
So what this is a new law went into effect January 1, and yes, inmate GPS monitoring. And the purpose of that is better location of the
I understand.
inmates, plus we can start offsetting some of those costs when they're used on work crews and things like that, because we put that municipality responsible for the budgeting. And actually, there leads on to some other things, but this did just go into effect, and it will need to be addressed pretty quickly. Otherwise, it's gonna be a serious man-hour burden for the sheriff's department until we're in compliance with
So we have a motion, I'll second it, motion to approve.
So I still have questions that didn't come through health and emergency, and I still don't understand the cost, and I don't understand how much cost we're going to have going forward, and are we going to work this in health and emergency to understand? I mean, it's a law we're gonna have to comply with, but I don't know if we understand the burden that we're going to incur.
I'd have to let the sheriff's department speak to why they picked that
And I don't
vendor.
wanna do this at budget, I just wanna make a comment that I would have liked to work on.
Why don't you make a motion to have,
It's going to break, is what I'm hearing, that they need to do this.
Well,
You can approve it, but you can make an amendment, sorry for that.
Okay.
go ahead.
You can make an amendment just to have Health and Emergency Services put this on their agenda, we send them to investigate this back, we'll come back to this
Yeah.
in June.
Well,
Or
if
whatever.
there's a manpower issue for the next 30 days, is the problem.
I'm not talking about.
He's talking about the budget cycle.
Andrew's question,
And go
it needs to go to committee to understand her question.
All these items are already funded. This first one, for instance, when you do a lease, if they end up material, you have to sort of source and use, so we're sending it to the county commission where they can budget it. The next one, too, A, B, and C, and the one added D, they're already appropriated, but what you've got going on is they're buying multi-year contracts, so the expense goes in the next year. Only county commission can approve appropriations, so that's why we send them to you guys. They're not asking for any more appropriations right now.
It's just a crossover.
Right, and same thing, there's things they would do anyway, so I'm not really sure this is something you would necessarily want to send to another committee, but you may want to have them here to answer this question. It's more of a financing issue.
So for budget,
It's more of a budget
we
issue.
need this information going forward then. I understand.
Right, and usually the chief deputy has somebody here, I'm not sure what happened, I saw all they have.
He's quite tied up.
Right, he's usually here, just something unusual. Most times he'll be here to explain it.
All right, so we have a motion. Did you have an amendment? Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. C2, IT Department is Meraki purpose A, B, and C.
And
And D. Oh, and D, yeah, with the one I added with the multi-year lease.
And
So these are all these are all software purchases.
I move to group and approve.
Second, all in favor?
Can I have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I know it's late, I'm sorry. The subscription renewal and subscriptions for finance, are any of this going for our new courthouse folks? I'm just wondering, is it more because of the new courthouse
No,
additional stuff we're picking up? That's all my question.
I don't
This
see,
is normal.
I don't see is just Office 365 because it's in the middle of the year, part of the big increase this year, next year. The bottom one, item D that got added is because if we don't do it, we'll lose the cyber insurance. We didn't realize that till after this meeting. Item 1 and 2 is from Meraki and Citric, and we buy 3-year contracts, so 2 years of expense is going to be next year. And I think those are existing, or is that the new courthouse? These are all existing.
That was my question, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, 3, item A is 13,000 for sheriff's CID, HVAC replacement.
I move to group and approve 3.
All right,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
They're not appropriation, this need to be spread on the municipal commission.
So, so this is the election commission's attorney's request for funding. Mr. Lon, can you speak to this?
Mr. Sidley may be aware that there was a request from their attorney for, I think, $30,000 odd that's in here. We also packed out the stuff we received from, I think it's the assistant to the administrative elections that we received the other day. Both of these we received after the deadline for the meeting, but I went ahead and put it in the packet the way you guys could consider possibly we're passing.
What is this? So this is for the election commission's, legal fees to sue us, right?
No, this is for the,
Was that it? No, this wasn't it, okay.
this is for additional lines.
Oh, yeah, we need a motion.
We need an executive.
I think we need an executive session for this.
All right, is there a motion?
Yeah,
Motion?
that's it.
And a
Second.